All right, guys, let's do a short little journal entry on weathering, erosion, and deposition. All right, so your title is Weathering, Erosion, Deposition. Okay, weathering, erosion, deposition. So, let's make that a little bit. 1 second. Let's make this a little bit darker so we can see. There we go, much better. Okay, so let's talk about what each of these means. So if you haven't already watched the video, get excited because it's going to be really cute. Some of your friends able to put together that video this morning. Okay, so we're going to put W and then E and then D. All right, so W stands for weathering. So weathering. Erosion is what E stands for. Deposition is what D stands for. So, okay, so weathering, so in that hand motion it goes break, move, drop. So weathering is that break part. Weathering is where we break. So weathering breaks, underline it, apart rock into sediment. Apart rock into sediment. Okay? Erosion is the moving part. So moves rock to new places. Moves that rock to new places. Moves that rock to new places, okay? So weathering and erosion are caused by three main things that we need to make sure that we remember. And they're pretty simple, okay? And they are, so W and E, so we're going to write W, oh, can you see that? Yes, W is, and E for erosion, are caused by, or occur by water, wind, and ice. Those are the three ways that we get weathering and erosion. So I want you to make sure that you make those W's bold and that I bold, because those are important. You need to remember that that's how erosion happens. So weathering is the breaking apart of the rock. So think about how weather happens. So weather happens, you know, there's strong winds, there's rain, so wind and water. You know, there's hail that happens, and that hail and that wind and that water hits that rock over and over and over. And so eventually it breaks, right? It breaks that rock apart into sediment little by little at a time. So it's not right away, you know. It's not, okay, one rainstorm and the whole rock, the whole cliff is broken apart. It happens little by little. So it's a process on Earth. And then as, you know, that weathering process happens, well, erosion is going to move the rock to new places. So whenever that rock breaks, you know, the wind is going to blow it around and it's going to put it somewhere else. The water is going to make it flow down to the bottom of that piece of rock, whatever it is. Ice is going to carry it away with it, right? With that part at the bottom of the, like an ice, like imagine running an ice cube along sand. Isn't the sand going to move with the ice cube? Yes. All right. So the last one is deposition. So deposition, where'd my marker go? Deposition drops rock and sediment drops rock and sediment into new places to create landforms. To create landforms. So, you know, that erosion, that wind is going to blow that sediment away, and eventually what's going to happen is it's going to, I mean, gravity, you know, gravity is a major force in this process because gravity is going to pull it down. Gravity is going to pull that down to the ground somewhere. And what will happen is over time, those will create new landforms. Like sand dunes are a great example of this. So sand dunes are caused by wind erosion, and the wind blows all this sand into massive dunes, or like basically big hills of sand, and that's a process caused by wind erosion. Okay, really a really important thing to remember here, guys, is that weathering, erosion, and deposition all happen simultaneously. Weathering, erosion, and deposition occur simultaneously. That's a long word. Simultaneously. Simultaneously. They occur simultaneously. So what simultaneous means is at the same time, right? They're happening all at the same time. And that's really important for us to remember. So it's not like all the weathering in the world happens at the same time, and then all the erosion carries it all the way at the same time, and then all of the stuff drops into a new location at the same time. That's not how it works. It's happening simultaneously. So as some rocks are getting weathered, other rocks are getting eroded. The pieces of sediment are being eroded, and they're being carried away somewhere new. As that's happening somewhere else, there's deposition happening. There's rock being placed in a new location, and it's building new landforms. So anyway, we will see some really cool examples of this in action tomorrow. All right, have a good night.